All right, welcome to another video from the chart reader. So today we will be looking at EV and charging. I really wish I made this video yesterday. I had a really busy work schedule, but I am finally bullish on MULN. So we will get to that one a little bit later, but monster day today on MULN. That was really exciting to see. Before I get to this chart, because I have a lot to say about these last 3 days, let's just talk about what we're going to do here, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly like we always do. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw myself. And then when we're done up here, we will use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Again, 80% of the work is here, 20% of the work is down here, right? It really starts with breaking the lines, and then we use these just in case there's like a tie or something like that, right? So let's get to it. Normally I start on the daily, but I'm going to start on the weekly for Tesla, right? Because I was talking about the 200 moving average the last time we spoke, right? Or the last time I made the video, whatever. And look, I've said it so many times that look, the 200 is our very last moving average line, right? And it is for a reason. You either lose it or you break it, and they're two extreme differences, right? But we are on the verge of losing it right here, and that could be devastating because again, once you lose the moving averages, look, there's so much of this black hole down here, right? I would rather do that up here, right? So I'll obviously be making some horizontal lines, and my lines will matter a lot more once we have no more moving averages, right? But right now, just the green is going down. This is becoming a resistance, and we've seen it so many times. This 20 is going to become really hard to get over, right? So the fact that we couldn't bounce on the weekly's 200 is devastating. It really is. Look at this, okay? The last 8 days of trading have all been over the 50 moving average. So there's been at least the average amount, if not more, volume, but it's all been selling. There's literally only been one day where more people bought than sold. That's embarrassing, right? So look, ugly RSI, ugly MACD, clearly right there. I mean, it wanted to do something not even close to breaking it, let alone having to worry about confirmation, right? So yeah, just really bad, and it really all started right here, right? Once we lost that 8. And the funny thing is, the Nasdaq's been all right. It hasn't been fantastic, but I mean, there were some amazing. I'm just gonna go to the Nasdaq real quick. There were these little like pops, right? And hey, even this one started up here, but Nasdaq wasn't horrible. It was at least horizontal at worst, right? And Tesla has been extremely down. It hasn't even been able to do the horizontal. So this has me worried. It really does. And obviously I was talking positive about MULN, which is 2 away, but look, Tesla's first here for a reason, right? And the fact that this one's doing really bad and a couple outliers are doing well, just in general makes me believe a lot of this might not be sustainable, right? Because again, we do these sectors because they should all be doing the same thing, whether it's good or bad, just to give us confidence in the sector, right? So again, look, Ford. Look, Ford's been a beast. Okay, this is one of the first kind of look. I'm not here to tell you when to buy. I'm not here to tell you when to sell. I'll obviously tell you, hey, once you get over the 8, that's a good thing for me. That's when any stock is worth buying in my book. Once you lose the 8, that's definitely a get out of the stock. You're no longer worth it in my money, right? And then from there, bouncing on stuff like that. So I'll give you things like that. But Ford was one of the louder ones when I said, hey, it looks like there's going to be a monster climb, and I also kind of gave a, hey, it looks like it's about to teeter off, right? But I will say, this thing never lost the 50, right? It definitely could have dropped to like, let's even call it 1250, right? But it used the moving average as a good bounce point, tried to make it way up. But again, I always say it, right? Getting over 3 lines, getting over 2 lines, man, getting over 1 line is difficult, right? So it bounced well, but just couldn't get over the cluster, right? We're still technically 3 days over the 8, but I'm seeing this rejection as somewhat worrisome, right? And hey, maybe we'll be coming to 1250 if we do lose the 8 and the 50 here, right? And again, you can only use the support so many times, right? We literally just broke this 52, right? So we broke it, have now used it as a support once. Hey, maybe it'll go twice, but I don't see it being more than 3. If it was a more established break and a longer break, hey, if we went up and it was a test further out in maybe January, hey, it'd be a lot different, right? But the fact that we tested it so close to the initial break has me a little iffy. But again, Ford, beautiful climb, good amount of time to get you out. You could even start, kind of, again, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, right? But this is where you kind of start scalping a little bit, right? Your number of days under, let's at least bank a good amount of that profit right there, right? So, again, I'm never going to tell you what to do with your money, and I'm occasionally kind of letting you guys know what I do with my money. But hey, again, everybody's different, all that sort of noise. One more time, I know I mentioned this on the last video. I wanted Tesla to do this, right? I'm going to flash back one more. Oops, too many letters. Tesla did not do that. It decided to lose it, right? And unless tomorrow brings us back up here to 165, okay? If we need to gain 165, oh, hold on. I am in regular hours. Okay, good. Yeah, if this, again, honestly, if this does not break 165, it could be really bad, right? My goal was a forward level bounce on the 200 because, again, this is just weeks of good, weeks of good, weeks of good, right? Not the other way around, which could literally be weeks of bad, right? But back to Ford itself, again, look, the weekly was trying to get over a monster cluster, never quite could get over the 100, couldn't bounce on the 20 either. We're now under the 8 for a couple weeks, right? It seems like Ford has gone horizontal as long as it could, in my opinion, right? And you can kind of see the 8 is no longer running horizontal up here. It's definitely starting to teeter down. You can kind of start seeing the 20 start to teeter down again. That's one of the scarier things to see, right? When those two start coming down, we've seen it a bunch, right? MULN. All right. Before I get into the good, I just want to highlight some of the bad things that I was saying on the other ones, right? Again, we see it, right? When the 8 and the 20 start to move down together, it's really deadly, right? So just one more time, but look, okay, I am not a hater on a stock, okay? I feel like whenever I say bad things about MULN, people do get a little, extra emotional with it, right? But man, MULN is finally starting to turn around, and look how drastic all of this looks right here, right? I right clicked real quick. That's how excited I was, right? But as we were doing this ugly down, even right here, you can see there was a good little positive, and you see all the greens come, right? But MULN's pretty good to follow with the technicals because, again, the volume is silly. We had 3. MULN has been the #1 volume trader for, I want to say, the last 2 or 3 days. It, like, 300 million on a single day is silly. It's been as high as almost 700 million on a single day. That's silly, right? So the fact that MULN can get this kind of volume is a beautiful thing. And I'll tell you, okay, let's get into the meat of it, right? I say this often, right? You drop, you go horizontal, and you either go up or down, right? We dropped horizontal down, we horizontal, and hey, it looks like up right now, okay? I'll be real honest with you. I got in at this 24 alert. I had something hit. I've been saying I wouldn't really touch MULN until it got over the 20. Yesterday, this definitely caught my eye because, again, I saw this high part of the wick. I don't know if anyone decided to buy in during that. Believe me, it crossed my mind. But I'm here to finish the day, make a plan, and then attack the next day, right? I don't have a lot of time to interday stuff. But when I saw it drop to 20 something yesterday morning, I think, ooh, I was ready for MULN. When I saw this doji, look, you hear me say it often, okay? Doji, next day matters most, okay? One more time, the doji itself doesn't matter, but it just gets you ready because the next day should tell you the truth. And you start with a gap up, you break a line, and you run. And look, I've said it a couple times. This red. Hopefully you weren't on the downside of it, but once you can break an important line, you just end up flying up. And did we pretty much stop there? Yeah, we pretty much stopped there. We basically filled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 days of losing in 2 days. Excuse me. That's a beautiful thing, right? And that's why I keep saying, don't buy it under the 8. I'm never going to tell you what to do with your money, right? But I'm telling you that one. I'm going to beat that drum one more time. A stock under the 8 moving average is not worth your hard-earned money. You work way too hard to put your money in something under the 8. As you start going horizontal, again, it's not really worth your money just yet, because I promise you, it's not really about buying it here and then hoping you go all the way up here. Yeah, obviously you made more profit, but I promise you, me buying right here, going up there, I'm really happy. That's a double-digit swing in one day in a lot less stress. It just really is. And look, I'll say it right now. I believe this still has more legs. I think come Monday, we're testing the 50. Hopefully we break the 50 and shit. Sorry to curse, right? I try not to do that too often, but we might be coming up to 47 cents. That's actually really realistic, right? MACD is not too far off from positive. Again, I like that the green's going up, red staying down. That's a beautiful RSI. And look, the RSI has been so flat for so long, it's definitely saying, hey, I'm not flat anymore. And it wasn't that long that this thing got up to 85, right? So, I mean, there's plenty, oops, what happened? Sorry. There's plenty of room between even 67 and around that 70, 75, 77 range where I start getting, not 70, sorry, I said that word too, but 75, 77 is where I start getting worried. Like I said, it wasn't too long ago. We were up here in the 80s, right? So, still room. And again, love that. 2 days, well above 50 moving day average, right? 50 days ago, we were trading around 180 million. We definitely cracked 200. The next day, we actually get substantially more volume. It doesn't quite look like 50% more, but I mean, a lot more volume for sure. And again, still going up, right? I would love 400 million volume tomorrow. Oh my God, I would love that so much. But hey, really what I care about tomorrow, or sorry, Monday, is breaking 30 cents. 29 cents is the 50 moving average. Let's get over 30 cents, and let's actually maybe get to 33 cents. Let's try to get to the top of this. And then again, we'll try to chop down another downtrend. But MULN, exciting. It really is. Look, the weekly isn't great yet, but hopefully next week, again, brings us above the 8. And then another week brings us closer here, right? There's still a lot to prove here before we sincerely believe this is going to last a while, right? 2 of the last 3 weeks have definitely been buys. All 3 have been a lot of volume. That's good, right? But again, once you look at the 5, it's definitely been only 2 out of the last 5, right? So hopefully we're going to focus on these 3 more than the last just 5 in general, right? But I like the RSI kind of starting to peak out. Again, we're not too far from the positive there, but it really starts again 30 cents, right where I put it, right? We got to get over the 8 moving average on the weekly to genuinely believe the dailies will be substantial, so will be sustaining, right? Because I'm here for sustaining uptrends. I want the opposite of this. As easy as it is to just genuinely know it's going to keep going down, it really is as easy to believe it's going to keep going up, right? And even with these, when it goes down, there's these moments of up and then it kind of goes back down, right? And that's what I talk about. When it goes up, it'll do a healthy cool off and then go back up, right? So I promise you, it's all as easy to see. It's just about the market right now. We're just in a bad market. That's really all it is. But way too much time on only 3, so I'm going to try to go a little quicker on some of these. LIDR, again, I said it, right? It made a monster up. Sad drop. Wanted to make a monster up, just couldn't get over this line, right? And I say it, right? Moving averages, I do believe, mean more than my horizontals. But once you break it, that's really all you have between the next ones, right? So you just kind of have to use it. And look, it was just, yeah, it needed the confirmation, right? There's not too much more to say. But where are we immediately? Look, 1, 2, 3. 3 out of the 5. That's a cluster for me. We're going horizontal, and then boom, we've lost it, right? And really, we've been under the 8 all of these days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like all of these, it just so that these other lines, right? What is it, the 50 and the 20? We're kind of holding it a little more, but yeah, it's now slipping, it's getting ugly, and just look at how low the volume is, right? I mean, I know if I go to the weekly, you'll see, right? There were moments where volume was higher. This thing was in the millions of average volumes. Now we're barely in the millions, right? So, I mean, again, you don't want volume going down. You want volume going up. You need volume for good percentages. But again, it's good when it's over the 8. Definitely looking like it's about to lose the 8, and that's real scary, right? So, LIDR not looking good. EVGO is going downhill, right? Again, nothing should be a surprise right now. This was the closest moment to, hey, maybe it'll get over the 8. You know I don't care about this single one, right? I need confirmation to say that we're actually over the 8. Definitely wasn't even like potentially good confirmation, right? It wasn't one of those like question mark ones right here. It was just bad and then obviously keep going down the 8. I see this, I do. I see this, I do. I see this, I do. Nonetheless, all I'm really seeing is trading well under the 8. And I now do believe this 20 is going to be a lot more difficult because, again, we've seen it, right? You go horizontal, you lose them both, and then these just suck. And it just happened, right? It wasn't that long ago. We were in a very tight one. So we've seen plenty of super down. Again, we just saw it with MULN. Again, not to pick on MULN. Obviously, I just said really positive things, but we were horizontal and then just lose the 8 and the 20 for a really long time, right? So we've seen it be a bad thing when those two decide to go down together. So be very careful with EVGO for sure. I'll look at the weekly real quick, but yeah, should be no surprise how bad this weekly looks, right? I'm not going to talk about anything down here because, again, 80% of the work is up here, right? So EVGO, you should go away. I will tell you that. All right, NIO. So we were talking about the Chinese uptrend. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know if anyone else has called it that. I will coin that if no one has. But where are we? Look, this is, again, why we love the 8 moving average so much. There were a number of days where it just looked like it was going well. And hey, I talk about the healthy drops, right? As long as we're over the 8, I'll take it. This is our moving support line, right? Once we lose it right here, it's game over. And again, you get the confirmation next day for sure, right? And at this point, it kind of looks like this bad boy's curving down. Unless there's a bounce right here at 1169, because that's basically this line and these two. There's a real good chance we're coming right back down to 10, right? I'm actually going to make a horizontal right there. I don't see why I wouldn't. Yeah, right at 10 on the dot. You hit that, you hit that. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, really, I think it's all about this cluster right here. Either you bounce right there, or there's a lot of good reason to believe you just kind of fill this gap back down. Maybe you'll get saved around 1070 or 1050, but yeah, I think 10 is just a little more realistic. But yeah, again, you gotta love the 8 moving average, right? So yeah, love it. Again, not a bad weekly, I guess you can say, right? Because again, we broke the 8. I want my confirmation to go up, right? So none of those last 2 candles have been over this, right? And generally, when I say good confirmation, you want it to go up. We're confirming uptrend, right? We're not confirming horizontal or down. So yeah, NIO, I think this might have been just a little anomaly. However, if we get a good bounce here, good break here, and I'm going to make one more line. You know what? I'm also going to set an alert. All right, let's see which line. So that's 138. Oh, no, hold on. Give me a second. So where are you? You're too low. I don't like that one. Where are you? You're about 50% of the other one. So I'm going to actually make my line this one. I'll take that, and I'm going to set my alert here. You know, normally I take the higher one, right? If you've seen me do that on videos a number of times, but I'm going to take this one because I think this was the real last of the sustained uptrend. This was nothing more than a bounce that didn't kind of work out, right? So, and I like that this was also pretty much 50% of this candle. I'm okay breaking 50% instead of the top and that being good enough. So, hey, I'll set the alert and I know it'll all happen if it bounces right here. Otherwise, 10. No reason not to believe it. I got to imagine Lee is going to look the same, and look at that. It does. And hey, This one actually has the 100 moving average right here. Okay, so look at that. NIO didn't quite, and maybe it did. Maybe I just wasn't zooming out enough. Yeah, no, not quite actually. Yeah, NIO hit that. Lee hit that. Both of these are Chinese stocks. And hey, if they're not Chinese and they're somewhere else, other country, I'm not trying to sound racist, okay? So sorry about that. But nonetheless, this was an actual resistance. The other one, again, is going to tie to this one. And I honestly do believe that that natural resistance worked out. Nonetheless, where are we again? Under these. I don't like that this one doesn't have that cluster, right? So it's actually almost realistic to believe it's going to lose this, then come down, right? So let me make another line down there. Yeah, I'll take that one, I guess. See, that's a little too far out, though. That's let me make one with what we got. We'll take this guy because I think that's going to hit close enough to the other one. All right, boom. I use the top of this guy. It's not quite perfect enough, but hey, it also hits that. I'll take that. Yeah, it seems realistic to believe those are going to go down. And then, hey, if you do lose that, you're going to come all the way down to like 13, right? So, hey, let me at least put a line for this one too, just to give you an idea of where beyond that. So be careful with NIO, be careful with Lee. Not a lot of positivity on this video so far, right? Look at this, Polestar, ugly, right? But one more time, gotta love the 8, right? Gotta love the 8. It's a real easy place for you to decide, hey, maybe it's time for me to get out, or hey, maybe it's time for me to get in, right? And I'm not here talking about these lines for no reason, right? I can tell you that much. So, but yeah, look, where are we immediately? Very nice uptrend. We fall into this horizontal cluster. Sorry, couldn't get the second word out very quick, but it's not even really going very horizontal. It's actually a pretty drastic follow of an, I mean, what's the word? A parabola? I think that's the word. But yeah, that's pretty parabolic right there, right? So very much following the 8. So looks like we lost the 50. If we lose 516 tomorrow, or Monday, sorry, I keep doing. No, dude, tomorrow, wow. This is how you can tell I'm having a busy week. I don't know what day, the middle of the week we're in. Holy crap, it's Wednesday. Nonetheless, there's a good chance this will come to 418. I can't believe I just realized today was a Wednesday, not Friday, because I know a couple of them. I was mentioning the weekend, and yeah, long couple days. Sorry to make a video yesterday too. Look at this. Try to break the 20, can't do it, lose the 20, right? Same thing we talk about on the dailies, happen on the weeklies. You can just imagine it takes a lot longer for it to actually play out, right? Because you need to wait a full week for the candle. But again, this should look very similar to what we see. And look, this has not been trading for a very long time, right? So you can almost say we've fallen out of the cluster and now we have the two lines going down. Hopefully, we can get over this 20 on the weekly before we do a real ugly drop, right? So, Polestar, just being realistic, right? But yeah, right now it is starting to look really bad here. Nicola. Look, again, we talk about it. It's hard getting, look, it actually goes on for a while. It's hard getting over the 20 and the 8, right? It really is. There are moments where it looks like it is, but really all it's doing is the opposite of a cool down. A cool up, I don't know if that's the right word, right? But things can't just keep tanking and taking. They need to like calm down, cool off, and then keep tanking and taking and taking, right? So just like this, the RSI is a little too high, has to cool off, right? So again, I was hoping that example on the RSI looked better, but that should make sense on the drop, right? But all I'm seeing right now is just a continual loss of the 8 and the 20. This is starting to get devastating as well. So be careful here, for sure, be careful here. Again, really ugly weekly, right? And nothing is going to start to sustain on the daily until your weekly is good. So not too much to talk about here. Clearly ugly buying as well, just to mention the volume real quick. VLDR, man, this is still in the tight. Look, I would much rather trade horizontally forever than lose it, right? Obviously, I would love to break it. And if it breaks, that's where we jump in and get real happy, right? But hey, going horizontal is better than losing it. So as long as we don't go under this 50 moving average, you can almost even say this line because it seems to be moving together, right? So this 95 cents. But as long as we're just in these 4 out of the 5 lines, I don't want to say you're safe, but hey, you're kind of safe. You're not going to, drastically do ups or downs, right? Once this breaks and there's confirmation, it's great. Once this loses and there's confirmation, we've seen the consequences of that. And look, this is going horizontal on the weekly, right? Because, hey, if you're going to have this long of horizontal, you can imagine that's what the weeklies are going to look like, right? So, not too much to talk about. But one more time, hey, I'd rather be in this. And look, obviously, I'm not going to buy this, but hey, your money is better in this than in the downtrend of a lot of the other stocks we've been talking about, right? So, just kind of consider that in some ways too, right? Solo. Again, I would rather my money be doing what we just saw than do this. And look, there's Solo Bob, I think is his name on Stock Twits. Look, I'm not here to bash any single stock, okay? I'll be honest with you. I got really mad at my best friend's son years ago when this thing did the first run from cents to about $2 or $3, because I remember seeing Solo before it cracked the one the first time and saying, hey, this looks chill, and he was like, no, it's three wheels and silly, and I decided to listen to him, blah blah blah. But I've made money on Solo. I'm telling you, I have. I should have made more, but that's just a different story for me and a buddy, right? But um, yeah, this is not good. You're in a cluster. You're in a cluster. You lose the cluster. And again, we see it. The 8 and the 20 are ready to roll down. Are we at all time lows? No, we're not. Oh, are we at all time lows? We lost that line and we're at all time lows. People. And look how. Okay, too much. This used to be trading 64 million shares a. Oh, this is a week. Okay. Okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense. Nonetheless, this was in the millions and is now dropping into the like 100,000, 600,000, right? I got a little excited on the weekly, but couple things we just saw. We lost this. We're now at all-time lows. There has been no buying except this day and no more buying except this day for pretty much a month, from roughly the sixth, yeah, from the 15th to the 14th. There have been 2 days of buying. Ugly. Okay. So I'm not here to hate on any stocks, but you cross all-time lows, you lose a horizontal support. The last question you want to ask is how much lower can this go? Because there are 86 cents more this thing can lose, and then in that last one, you're going into the 4 digit. Like there's a lot, and I'm by no means I'm saying this is gonna go that low, but I promise you this can go. I mean, 50% lower, 20% lower, 70% lower. It really is a guessing game. And until I start to get a couple green candles, we have no new lines I can draw. All we're doing is waiting for the day that I can fill this gap. I promise you that, just like we did with MULN, right? I'll take all these days, red, 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 red. I'm happy with it because I have no money in here. And again, I know one day we're going to go green, 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 right? But just be realistic with it, right? Just be realistic with it. Charge point. All right. Hey, I'm glad this did this because I remember knocking on this 1030 drum a lot. And then it got a lot uglier after 1030. But where are we? We're at least going to take another crack at the 20. I'm happy with that, right? But this 20's been no joke. And it's still relatively early since we've lost this horizontal, right? So if we don't break out of this, there's still a lot worse this thing can get, right? So right now, I'm not happy that we're over the 8. This doesn't make me excited. This doesn't make me say, hey, this is a stock worth even considering. I actually legitimately would not even consider it now at this point. We need to get over the 20, right? My criteria has to be a little bit better for this, right? Back to MULN, right? Back to MULN. I was saying it a number of times during this. I wouldn't touch this as it got over the 8. I really don't care about the 8 as much now. I care about the 20. and you it did me well. It said, hey, we're over the 20, 23. And look, if tomorrow decides to come down a little bit, I'm not going to be that disappointed. Don't go lower than 24 cents, please. That would be a nice little please. But hey, let's head to the 50 and let's prove that this 20 is a long, well overdue break, right? Because we did have one good break here. We actually got over the 52 before it failed. Let's get a good break of the 50 again. And hey, maybe even use the 50 as a support to the 100, just coming back to the MULN one last time. Charge point, however, looks ugly. Looking at the weekly real quick again, horrible weekly, right? Again, you cannot have good sustained dailies until the weekly is good. So cross the 30-minute mark. I was trying not to do that. I wish I made this yesterday, and I don't know if anyone would have made moves on MULN or not, but if you've seen my last videos, you could have been ready for MULN. I will say that. And just the next 2 weeks are going to be a little difficult with my work schedule because it's end of the year where other countries are coming in for like stuff. So I'll do my best to put content out. But hey, I hope you're trading well. I hope you're learning, and I hope you're getting better every day.